I think like all of us, we look for strategies that will bring success for our families and that work-life balance, as well as in our business careers. So it turned out that my daughter was observing around her other mothers doing things differently. And finally, when she was 6 years old, she got really upset one day and came home from school, and she burst into tears. And she wouldn't stop crying, and she grabbed her Raggedy Ann doll, and the red dye started to run from the Raggedy Ann doll's face like tears. And it touched me so, and I knew that this was the moment of truth for both of us. And we sat and talked, and I rocked her in my arms, and she said, "Mom, you're not like all the other moms." And I said, "Becky, what do you mean?" And she said, "All the other mothers come to school and bring cupcakes." all the other mothers, you know, they're there when their kids come home from school. You know, we don't see you enough. She just burst into tears over and over again and said, "You just can't be my mom." So I rocked her and rocked her and rocked her, and finally something came to me. I always think that the universe gives you good wisdom at the time when it's important. And I could have said to her, "Well, I'll do cupcakes, will that work?" Or I could have said, "I'll be home at school, you know, at the end of the day." And I realized I had to teach her a lesson and also teach me a lesson about being honest and coming from my heart about what's important, because at that point, she needed to know how important it was for me to work. And she needed to somehow become open to and accept that, because I was not going to stop working. And I wanted her to become part of my life when I was working, and I wanted it to be a good experience for her as well. And so I told her, I said, "You know what life would be like if I wasn't working?" I said, "I could stay home and cook dinner for you, and I could be here at the end of the day. But most likely what would happen is I'd start to get really angry. And I'd start to get really angry at you. And I'd probably discover that I knew how to spank my little daughter, which I don't do now." And I said, "There are a lot of things that would come out of me that I wouldn't like very much." And I said, "My concern is that if I do all those things to make you happy, I might give up the most important things in my life." And so we sat and we cried and we talked about it a lot. And over the next couple days, the next couple weeks, Becky started to have a different view about the importance of a mother working. And I also had a different view about how important it was for me to show up more at school so I could be around her. So there was a trading going on at that point in time. But today, Becky is a mother. I have my first grandchild, Gideon, from my daughter. And my daughter ended up being an extraordinary litigator, an amazing lawyer who got actually 28 offers to join a firm. She was that good. And as she was going through her process of deciding where to go, she grabbed me one day and took me out to lunch. And she said, "Mom, I have to tell you something. Probably the most important conversation that you and I ever had was when I was 6 years old, and I was really upset about you not being here for me every day. And look what's happened to me today. If I didn't hear you say that when I was young, I remember it every day when I make my choices about what I want to do so that I can do what I want to do and not give it up." And I thought, what a wonderful thing for her to bring back to me as a mother, and for both of us to have to share together as I watch her.